Joining us live from our Lagos studio is Timothy Iwuagwu, who is the President, Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, to speak more on this development in Niger State and other parts of the country. Thanks so much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, from that report, we can hear some of the people who lost their properties or their businesses saying that they don't know exactly what caused that explosion. And we know that this is not an isolated incident around that area. What sort of issues might have actually provoked this type of explosion or the other types of explosion that has been happening in this area?
What we are familiar with is PMS. A lot of people talk about PMS, but when it comes to liquefied petroleum gas, what would be responsible for this type of fire and explosion is leakage and the presence of a source of heat. Already we have this thing happening in an open environment, so we have enough of oxygenated air. And the LPG is not something you can easily inhale in its natural form. The odor is not strong enough. That is why from the refinery or from the plant, it is given some other compounds, other ether compound to boost the smell, because if we don't even have the smell, we may be engulfed entirely. So people may not have noticed the leakage. You need a level of awareness for staff of any gas plant to even know what is happening, because the gas is odorless. Approximately, you need to keep any source of heat 100 meters away for you to feel safe enough. Now, if you have leaking LPG from the tank, you can only know it if you are not wearing trousers. You feel cold on your legs because the gas is a refrigerant gas. It takes away heat from your body. So people may not know because it is colorless, so you cannot see it. And then if it is out of the container, it is heavier than air. By density, we say it's heavier than air, and it will flow at ground level. And if there's any opening, it will follow the lowest position on the ground level. So the gas may not be seen, and it will go far because it follows any opening, like gutters, like passages, small corridors. Everywhere that is able to hold it, it will fill up that space. And because it is highly flammable too, it will pick heat from a distance and get inflamed and move it to the source, to the tank itself. So there's a likelihood of multiple explosion that will confuse the people the more. So ability to understand the physical and chemical characteristics is very important.
Well,
so that is why training...
Mr. Iwuagwu, if you can hear me, this sort of incidents are preventable. Can you just walk us through some sort of safety protocols that can be taken to prevent these sort of incidents? And even in the event that they happen, what sort of protocols can mitigate the sort of outcome that we can see when this happens?
Now, safety precautions is that the owners of the tanker or the tank conveying the liquefied petroleum gas must ensure there's no leakage. They must test for leakage. And then people around the station, the workers, must have undergone some courses. I know the midstream, downstream sector has been engaged in advocacy, and they have been saying people should get some training. But who are these trainers? That organization, we are planning, the institute is going to have something with them. We've received some letters from them, and we want to actually have a physical visit to their office in Abuja. So training and retraining is one measure that must be put in place, because people perish for lack of knowledge. If you don't understand the physical and chemical characteristics of this gas, then you might be very, very vulnerable when you find yourself in such environment. And I heard somebody talking about the youths. The youths ran out to come and fight the fire or do whatever they want to do. But that's foolhardy. They are not expected to do that. That is too risky, and that is suicidal, because you may even enter an environment where the gas has already taken over, and when it picks flame from a distance, it's going to roast everything on its path. And the blast is always very strong, that it can throw somebody some meters away from where it happened. So nobody should try to go in there. And I also heard the fire service officer saying they try to pour water to cool the thing. LPG is lighter than air, it's heavier than air, but it's lighter than water. So it's going to float on top of the water. So if you are pouring water, then the water will help to carry the gas, the liquefied petroleum gas, far away, where it can pick up flame and kill more people and destroy more property. So these are the things we emphasize. And this is why we emphasize that the agencies should collaborate with the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria to see how the proper training is given even to the trainers. There are some people who are trainers, maybe because they are contractors.
Talking
but
about...
they need to be given...
Well, talking about the agencies, I wanted to ask you, in this particular incident, no lives lost. However, properties, goods, businesses worth millions of naira were destroyed. Who should be held accountable? Gas plant owners, tanker drivers, regulatory agencies, who should be held accountable for incidents like this?
I think the first person to be held responsible is the owner of the business. The first business owner is the owner of the tanker truck. The second person is the owner of the station. And then the question is, what is the regulation? Compliance and poor adherence to a standard operating procedures has resulted in things like this. Sometimes the tanker will arrive, instead of doing the checks, there are some checks that must be carried out before commencement of discharge operations. Sometimes people want to be in a hurry and do it, and then you get calamities of this magnitude. No lives recorded so far, but we've lost means of livelihood, and the aim of work is to earn a living. So if the whole workplace has been raised down, then those people who depend on that workplace are also endangered by this occurrence. So the owner of the truck, the owner of the station, and then the regulatory authorities will also be held responsible. There are a lot of things not checked at all. That is why, even when you go to filling station to buy PMS or DPK or diesel, whatever product, you find out that citizens are shortchanged. A lot of manipulations on valves, on meters, and then it's just about regulatory authorities not doing what they should do, and then punitive measures and sanctions not often given. So the operators within this area of the economy take the government for granted. So we are coming out from the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, and we're going to have a physical meeting with these agencies, and we are going to talk to the government. I was very pleased when we heard that our First Lady, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, visited some of the families and gave out something to cool down the effect of this. And then we are going to see how we can help people to get more knowledge of how to stay away, because the issue of youth running down to go and put on fire, that they are not equipped, they are not skilled, they are not knowledgeable in any way.
We're out of time.
Suicidal.
We're out of time, unfortunately, Mr. Iwuagwu, Timothy Iwuagwu. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. The president of Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, speaking about the explosion in Niger State, how we can prevent it, how we can mitigate the consequences of such incidents.